2021 had so many good movies, but even though I missed out on a couple, there were still plenty that resonated with me. Starting with a bang, Godzilla vs. Kong is exactly what it's marketed to be, a giant monkey fighting a nuclear lizard, and I'm all about it. The plot is secondary to its insane spectacle, but it doesn't disappoint. Godzilla wasn't playing, and I was actually endeared to Kong. I hope we get more. We finally got the Snyder Cut, all 4 hours of it, a vast improvement to what we originally got, and I really appreciated Zack Snyder's actual vision. Marvel also delivered, such as with Eternals, motifs of heroism coupled with strong family dynamics. It had visceral cinematography with both cosmic scope and tragic storytelling. I mean, at the end of the day, we got a Robb Stark-Jon Snow reunion, and that's all I really wanted, and I'm hoping to see Richard Madden again in the future of the MCU. Shang-Chi was a hyper-stylized action blast with its own vibe, and Black Widow was a poignant send-off for Natasha, but also introduced us to the charming Yelena. And then James Gunn's The Suicide Squad deserves all its praise and was well worth the wait. Hyper-violent, wickedly funny, and emotionally poignant, it is equally bizarre as it is beautiful. The outstanding cast delivers something chaotically fun and memorable. One of DC's best. The Tomorrow War was a fun sci-fi action flick which gave us an OP, horrifying alien design in the White Spikes. When they're first introduced, it's straight out of a nightmare. And speaking about awesome alien design, we also got A Quiet Place Part 2, which upped the violence and action. When it comes to horror, these were some of my favorites. Malignant is over-the-top insanity. Wan delivers an absurdly ridiculous and very unique supernatural slasher that takes great cues from B-movies of the past, but it still somehow delivers shocking twists in satisfying ways. Be unprepared, it's a good fucking time. The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It's biggest triumph isn't in its scares, but in its invested connection that the audience has had with the Warrens. The chemistry between Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga continues to be electric, and watching them take on evil just feels good. I am so grateful that I stumbled upon Gaia, an eco-horror that's visually beautiful and unsettling at the same time. Survivalists have to wrestle with philosophical, psychedelic, and very real terrors in the form of relentless cordyceps-infected clickers straight out of the Last of Us video game. If you're down for that, but also want a good eco-horror, then this is for you. But hands down, The Vigil was my favorite. It gave me chills. Immersive with both its brutal sound and Jewish folklore, I was fully invested in the supernatural horror. Watching Yakov wrap the Teflon around his arm with such intensity as he got ready to face the Mazik was fucking electric and sublime. This is what I call triumphant horror. However, my top favorite films of the year begin with Adam McKay's Don't Look Up. Funny, infuriating, passionate, and satiric. It's technically a disaster movie, but it's really a cousin movie to McKay's other film, The Big Short. The star-studded cast all deliver, especially Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio, but while wickedly funny, the movie made me feel terrible, and I think that's the point. Last Night in Soho was a lot creepier and horror-focused than I initially thought it was gonna be. It has a banger soundtrack, stellar visuals and color, and it keeps you guessing until the very end. And yes, Thomas Mackenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy is also the woman of my dreams. Okay, there are so many thoughts and feelings that I have about Lamb. A24 once again distributes something unorthodox, a bizarre Icelandic folktale that introduces us to the cutest eldritch horror of all time. I keep showing this movie to people and they think I'm crazy, but I just can't stop watching it. Ridley Scott's The Last Duel is a gnarly historical drama that depicts a stylized, indulgent, and powerful critique on 14th century misogyny and class. The subtle changes between accounts of what happened to Marguerite de Carouge were superb, especially once we got that violent ending. Excitingly, musicals reached the top of my favorite films this year, and all of them involved Lin-Manuel Miranda for some reason. Starting with Encanto, I cannot express how catchy the songs are and how much I listen to the family madrigal and the relatable family drama. Tick Tick Boom is unapologetically loud and bombastic with its musical and stylistic performances. Enough can't be said about Andrew Garfield. He became Jonathan Larson, and watching him was mesmerizing. This is a great way to adapt a musical, full of love and full of hope. But then, if I have to be honest, my favorite for sure was In the Heights. It's a gleeful celebration of culture, heritage, and community. The outstanding direction and choreography, mixed with the engaging musical performances, really made for a perfect, vibrant movie watching experience. I immediately had the soundtrack on heavy repeat. Wasn't gonna watch this originally, so thank you to my mom who wanted to watch it. But regardless of all these amazing movies, how could my favorite be anything less than Spider-Man: No Way Home? A movie that was insanely hyped. There was no way it could meet expectations, yet it still delivered a profound experience for Spider-Man fans of all generations. We got Tobey Maguire, we got Andrew Garfield. The fact that 3 different cinematic Spider-Men could come together, learn from one another, and be there for one another was cathartic. Yes, there were better movies objectively this year, but nothing, absolutely nothing, can beat that audience theater experience. A theater full of people screaming and cheering. A theater full of fans who are connected with you in that moment, absolutely loving what's on the screen as much as you do. This was the culmination of 20 years of storytelling. As a kid, I watched Toby. As a late teenager, I watched Andrew. And now as an adult, I get to experience Holland. The payoff to this movie was unreal. It was simply magical. You had to have been there.